really the affordability in Geelong it's in the pricing of the actual markets. Now, when I'm saying pricing, I'm talking about your actual median house prices in some of these suburbs that I think are worth buying in. I've got a few just brackets I want to discuss with people here. So your bottom end is probably around your $550,000 mark. Your middle is $650,000 to $750,000, and your top end is $850,000. It sounds crazy, but I'm talking about detached houses on standard lots here. So I'm not talking about, like apartments or anything like that. And most people in Australia that live in any capital or major regional centre will be surprised about me talking about these prices in somewhere like Geelong. So that is definitely achievable in these suburbs. Now, mind you, what I should say to people is that previously, and this was only a short, probably 6 months or so ago, I actually had suburbs being purchased under $500,000 now. But what's happened is in that time alone, you cannot get a property that is really worth renting for anything under $500,000 anymore. You probably need, minimum about $520,000 to about $540,000 now. But I'd argue to people that have that kind of money, there's a few better purchases at around $550,000 now. And it's only slightly more. So what I'd say to people is that I'd much rather you purchase in a much better suburb for $20,000 or $30,000 more. And it's just because these ones haven't moved as much and they are due to move. That's the reason. But anyway, on those prices alone, I'm just going to break down now what that means for a couple of people. And I've done two different examples here. So 2 different examples and 2 different sorts of people. So first things first, I'm starting with what it would look like for a family with 2 kids and then a couple with no kids. So a family and then a couple. And then what I've done as well is then I've looked at it from, and this is owner occupier, and then I've looked at it from an investor point of view. So it's one with a family of 2 kids and then one with none. And you'll see just what sort of money you need to earn. So first things first, let's just start with an owner-occupier or family of 2 kids. If you wanted to buy in the bottom end of Geelong, you're looking at about $110,000. And you can have this as single or combined income. I did both examples, and it roughly comes out pretty similar if you do HEMS. So that's your just standard should I say expenses? So I think it's a hedonic expenses monthly or median or something like that. I can't exactly remember what it stands for. So that's your bottom end. You probably only need 110,000 combined income. Middle's 135, top end's 165. So, even if you have 2 kids and you had 2 workers earning about, 80 or 85,000 a year, you can actually afford Geelong's top end. Your premier suburbs of Geelong, it's completely achievable. So, this is a reason I'm saying it's the last affordable location for someone, because you can genuinely have a family, live a very good lifestyle, and afford to live in some very, very good locations in Geelong, and very happily and live perfectly well. Income required, an owner-occupier with no kids. So even if you're a single person, or you might, for example, be a couple and you want to take advantage of the first home, owner's grant or no stamp duty, right? Geelong's a great place for it because, it sits under a lot of those actual thresholds. So bottom end, only $85,000 required, middle 100, top 130. So, those numbers are completely achievable for a professional single can definitely achieve that. A couple can achieve all of these, even if you're on very, even fairly low income. That's all of it's achievable. Mind you, I should say in this example, I am saying that I'm assuming you're having the 20% deposit. Don't get me wrong. That number is going to go up if you don't. And it is also going to go up, as well in terms of interest, because the interest rate on a high LVR would be obviously a little bit higher, and also not only that too, but you'd probably be able to borrow less depending as well on what your situation is, your credit score, and a few other factors. Don't get me wrong. So this is just assuming you have probably 100 or 150 in the bank, or someone who can give you it. It might be a parent, it might be a relative, you might have it in crypto or stocks or something like that as well. So it's just something to consider. You definitely can afford it though, even with as being an owner-occupier, and just look at what you need as an investor. So right down here, I've got an investor, and this could be a family with 2 kids. Even at the lower end, 85,000 for an investor, 110 for the median or middle, should I say, and about 125 for the top. So again, one professional income, higher income earner in a family, you can afford to do this. To both people working, you can literally afford to do this as an investor complete. It's very easy to do this as an investor still. So that's kind of where you're at in terms of Geelong. Very easy. And it's crazy as well if you get to an investor with no kids. This is the median income you need. Low income, 65,000, middle of 78, top 93. So, That's again 20% deposit assumed, but I mean that's very achievable for a single person with no kids. That's very, very achievable. Mind you, that number of 65,000 was much lower earlier in the year. That was right under, under the $60,000 mark significantly earlier in the year. But that's just what happens when the market starts moving. I'm sorry to say that, but I mean, it's just the truth. But all of this is achievable. I mean, for those who feel a little bit helpless and feel like they can't get into a market or a market that's worth buying in, as I said, Geelong is 100% achievable. It's not a market where, the vast majority of people are locked out of. Not everyone, but most people, it's still affordable for a large percentage of income earners in Australia. I think it's between about the 30th and 40th percentile of Australian income earners. But the funny thing is a lot of them, what the average person in Sydney might do is they'll say, I love Sydney. I want to live in Sydney. I have to buy in Sydney. And don't get me wrong, it's my favorite city in the country. I grew up here. I know exactly what it's like. But what people do is they'll say, all right, I live, let's say, in the inner west of Sydney. I want to buy, somewhere in Sydney where it just get in the market. And what they do is they go and buy a $450,000 to $500,000. No, it's probably even more than that. I'm probably being a bit generous there. It's probably like a $550,000 minimum to $600,000 one-bedroom apartment in Sydney's inner west. Now, that's statistically the worst performing asset you can get in the market, but that's just what people do. They don't think logically about these things. They just do what they know and they don't think logically. But you can get a fully detached home that is rentable for these prices are discussed previously perfectly well, and for these income brackets. So if that's you, there's no debate between where to buy. If you're a lower or middle income earner, this is a great location to buy in, 100% in Geelong.